outside look. Randall lines it up. No good. McDaniels has it. Edwards for three. Boom!
What does it take to be compared to Michael Jordan? Is it the fadeaway jumper, the explosive dunks, the ice-cold game winners? For Anthony Edwards, it's all of the above. And then some. In the final minutes against the Suns, Edwards didn't just play well, he transcended. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It makes such a huge difference to us. Thank you so much. Now back to the video, but here's the million-dollar question. Is Edwards really the next MJ, or are we all getting caught up in the hype?
Edwards. Wolves an opportunity to take their first lead of the game. Edwards rises off glass. Wolves on top.
There's only one way to find out. Let's break down Edwards' performance play by play and see if he's really got that Jordan magic. Picture this. A young kid from Atlanta dreaming of NBA stardom. That's Anthony Edwards. But he wasn't always the talk of the town. Let's rewind. Edwards' journey wasn't easy. Tragedy struck early, shaping his path in ways no one could have predicted. When he was in 8th grade, Edwards lost both his mom and grandma to cancer. Can you imagine that kind of pain? It's the kind of thing that could break anyone. But not Anthony. Instead of giving up, Edwards found refuge in basketball. The court became his escape, his passion, his future. His older siblings Antoine and Antoinette stepped up big time. They took legal custody of him and made sure he was all right. Edwards even said, "My older siblings kind of just took care of me and made sure I was all right." That support, it was everything. We saw flashes of greatness in college. At the University of Georgia, Edwards was dropping jaws left and right. He averaged 19.1 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game in his freshman season. That's insane for a rookie. But here's the crazy part. Some people still doubted him. They questioned his consistency and wondered if he could bring that fire to the pros. Then draft night comes. The Timberwolves are on the clock. Everyone's holding their breath. And boom, they take a chance on this raw talent, making Edwards the first overall pick in 2020. Some analysts were shocked. They thought other players would go before him. But Minnesota saw something special in Anthony. Now, you're probably wondering, how did Edwards shock everyone in those final minutes against the Suns? Well, that's where things get really interesting. The stage was set for an epic showdown. The underdog Timberwolves versus the star-studded Suns.
Pressure free throw logo. 3-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Booker, the runner won't go.
David versus Goliath. In Edwards, he was about to show the world exactly why the Timberwolves made the right call. Remember how everyone doubted Edwards? Well, those doubters were about to eat their words. As the game clock ticked down, something inside Edwards clicked. It was like watching a superhero origin story unfold in real time. Fast forward to the playoffs. The Wolves are facing off against the Suns. David versus Goliath, right? Edwards steps onto the court and you can just tell something's different. There's this look in his eyes like he's seeing the game in slow motion. The first quarter starts and Edwards is playing well, but nothing crazy. We've seen this before. He's putting up some decent numbers, making good passes, playing solid defense. But then the second quarter hits, and suddenly Edwards is heating up. The Suns are starting to sweat. You can see it on their faces. They're thinking, who is this kid? Halftime comes and goes, and that's when Edwards flips the switch. You know what's crazy? He only had 9 points at halftime. 9. But when he steps back on that court for the second half, it's like he's been possessed by the basketball gods. On rookie mode in a video game, and the Suns are the computer-controlled players. You're probably wondering, how many points did Edwards drop to seal the deal? Well, let me tell you, it was a lot, but it wasn't just about the points. It was the way he scored them, the confidence, the swagger. At one point, he even pulled off a highlight reel dunk over Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, the same KD who's been dominating the league for years. By the time the final buzzer sounds, Edwards has transformed from a promising young player into a full-fledged NBA superstar. And the Suns, they're left wondering what just hit them. You know how people always say there'll never be another Jordan? Well, after Edwards' performance, even the biggest skeptics were starting to doubt that. But here's the real kicker. Edwards doesn't even want the comparison. So why are fans and analysts losing their minds over it? Let's break it down. As Edwards started dominating, the whispers began. He looks like a young MJ out there. And you know what? They weren't wrong. That fadeaway jumper, pure Jordan. Those explosive dunks, straight out of Space Jam. It's like Edwards watched old Jordan tapes and said, yeah, I can do that. But it's not just about the moves, it's the swagger, the confidence, the killer instinct. Edwards has that I'm the best player on the court and I know it vibe. Sound familiar? That's pure MJ energy right there. You should have seen social media during the game. It was blowing up with side-by-side comparisons of Edwards and Jordan. People were losing their minds. There was even this viral moment where Edwards did a one-handed dunk with his tongue out. FIBA posted pics of Edwards and Jordan side by side. And let me tell you, the resemblance was uncanny. Here's the crazy part though, Edwards isn't trying to be Jordan, he's just being himself. In fact, he actually said, I want it to stop. He's the greatest of all time. I can't be compared to him. That's some serious humility right there. But even with Edwards trying to dodge the comparisons, the similarities are hard to ignore. The stats don't lie. In his 4th year, Edwards is averaging 31 points per game in the playoffs. That's Jordan-level dominance right there. You want to know what's really wild? An Eastern Conference assistant coach said, we all thought there was one kid who reminded us of MJ when he retired, and that was Kobe as Bryant. Edwards has that gift we all saw in Kobe, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks, which makes him even deadlier on the court. That's some high praise. So the big question remains, is Edwards the next MJ or is he something entirely new? The debate's raging on, and honestly, I don't think it's gonna stop anytime soon. One thing's for sure though, Edwards is making his own mark on the game, and it's gonna be exciting to see where he goes from here. Edwards isn't just playing basketball, he's rewriting the rules. The Jordan comparisons? They're flattering, but Ant's writing his own story. One thing's for sure, the NBA's future is in good hands with Edwards leading the charge. Picture this, it's crunch time. The Suns are breathing down their necks, and Edwards has the ball. The whole arena's holding its breath. What happened in those final moments didn't just win the game. It sparked a frenzy that had NBA experts making some wild predictions about Edwards' future. But what exactly did he do? The game's winding down, the Suns are on the ropes. Edwards has the ball and you can feel the electricity in the air. Time seems to slow down. Everyone in the arena is on their feet, eyes glued to Ant-Man. He makes his move quick and decisive. The defense collapses on him, but it's too late. Edwards rises up, hanging in the air for what feels like forever. Then, swish, nothing but net. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. The Wolves win, and it's all thanks to Edwards' clutch performance. In that moment, we didn't just witness a star being born, we saw a superstar emerge. Edwards didn't just play well, he dominated in a way that left even seasoned vets shaking their heads in disbelief. You know it's something special when a player like Kevin Durant can't stop gushing about you after the game. The post-game interviews were a total frenzy. Everyone wanted a piece of Ant-Man. Reporters were tripping over themselves to get a quote, to capture a bit of the magic that just happened on the court. And Edwards? He was cool as a cucumber, soaking it all in with that trademark smile of his. But here's the kicker. Edwards didn't just win the game. He put up numbers that had stats nerds scrambling for the record books. Get this, he dropped 40 points in a playoff game, on the road no less. That's the kind of performance that puts you in elite company, the kind of thing that makes people sit up and take notice. As the dust settled, one thing became crystal clear. The NBA will never be the same. Edwards isn't just a flash in the pan or a one-game wonder. He's the real deal, a transformative player who could change the fortunes of the Timberwolves franchise. Karl Anthony Towns even called him the face of the league. That's some serious praise from a teammate who's seen it all. In the end, Edwards' performance wasn't just about the points or the highlights. It was about the heart, the determination, and the sheer will to win. He showed the world that he's not just here to play, he's here to dominate. And if this game is any indication, we're in for one hell of a ride. Anthony Edwards isn't just playing basketball, he's rewriting the whole playbook. You know how everyone's comparing him to Jordan? It's crazy, right? But here's the thing, Ant's not trying to be the next MJ, he's creating his own legacy. Think about it, this guy's leading the Wolves to their second best record ever. He's sweeping the Suns in the playoffs, dropping 31 points per game like it's nothing. That's not just good, that's superstar level. And get this, Karl Anthony Towns is calling Edwards the face of the league. That's some serious praise from a teammate. But you know what's even wilder? Edwards is headed to the Olympics. He's about to show the whole world what he can do. The NBA's future. It's looking bright with Ant-Man leading the charge. This guy's not just playing the game, he's changing it. And we're all lucky enough to watch it happen.